Hi everyone, welcome back to our next video. Today we want to address questions that we get from our family and friends when we say to someone we love that loves us or just an acquaintance that we're going to become a van dweller. And man, we've all gotten a lot of different reactions, I know. And we want you to be forearmed for those questions and that you will have an answer when they answer those questions. And we've been doing this for a while and we've come up with some of them. And we know some of you have come up with answers that we don't. And we really hope that you will write down in the comments below and give us your answer. And so as a community, we can strengthen each other and deal with these kind of knotty issues, the different problems we face when we tell family and friends. So let's get started. Brian, why don't we start with you?
So one of the concerns I think a lot of people have, family and friends, is they're concerned about your future, whether you're planning appropriately for your future, things of that nature. I'll give you a quick example. So this was before I was a nomad, but I had a career out of college, and at one point I quit my job to go be a ski bum in California. And I remember going up and telling my dad, I flew up to Michigan, sitting down at the table with my parents, and I told them, hey, I'm going to quit my job and go be a ski bum. My dad put his head down on the table, shook it, looked me in the eyes and said, are you trying to kill us? He was not very happy with that decision. And so it's one of those things, I think it's a big concern for parents that they want to make sure you're okay when you grow up or when you kind of go off on your own, and that you're planning appropriately. And so I would just have to say that that was my experience. So when my dad did have that reaction, I think what I had to assure them was that I'll be okay. I wasn't doing it, without thinking about it. I wasn't just, flying off the handle. I had a plan. My plan was go be a ski bum for, 3 to 6 months and then eventually go back and find a real job. I ended up not finding a real job, but I did at least have the sense about me that I had answers to them. Like, well, I'm going to do it for this amount of time. This is how I'm going to pay my bills. These are the jobs I'm going to have. And so I really just had a plan, and I think that made them feel a lot better about it and let them kind of see what I do, which again, I'm sure as a parent, it's very hard to have trust in your kids. I was only, 23 or so years old. And so they probably thought I still didn't know anything, which I didn't. I mean, let's be honest, 23-year-olds, what do you know? But I did have a plan, and I think that helped convince them that it was okay. Right. How about for you guys?
Yeah, what I'll say is I really want to echo that sense of my parents were concerned. The more that I could hold two different truths at once, like I have to go do this, and I compassionately hear your concern. And their concerns were valid. In that sense of they wanted me safe, they wanted me protected, they wanted me to be financially stable. And one of the things that I've been able to show with now almost 3 years in this nomadic life is this lifestyle has made me more financially stable than I've ever been in my entire life. And so I think even just the evidence of that, being able to show that. Now for them, it was like this risk, and it was kind of like they didn't know if I was going to go be irresponsible, and they just kind of had to see. But then being able to say, look, I'm not spending money on rent. I'm saving so much money. I'm now I have 3 small businesses. And so there's this just evidence, so to speak, of here's how you can do this lifestyle and plan for your future.
Absolutely.
Right. So you were still building up your Social Security, right?
Yes.
And just really financially nothing changed because you just took your job on the road with you.
Exactly. Well, what did change is I actually saved more money and I had more free time, and then was able to actually grow and sustain myself more responsibly by being a business owner, which is something I couldn't do before nomad life. I did not have the energy when I was like an employee and part of the system in a more traditional way.
Right.
Well, and when you think about how much rent is these days, if you take that out of the equation, you can make $24,000 less than you normally would. And so that right there is a huge boon to your savings. If you can not pay that rent part of it, you've just increased your savings ability like tenfold.
Yeah, easily. And you've been working all this time, and you've been building your Social Security.
I have.
When you get older, you're going to have a Social Security.
Yep.
And you try to put money into savings as well towards your retirement?
I do, yeah. So I have a savings account, as well as each year I put a little bit of money into a traditional IRA as well as a Roth IRA, just depending on how much extra money I have for the year. I try to keep a finite amount in my savings as an emergency fund. We've talked about that before. Just, it's very important to have an emergency fund. We cannot stress that enough. And so I have enough that I can live for X amount of months without a paycheck, and I'll still be okay. And if something goes wrong with my motorhome, I have enough money to replace the engine, replace the transmission, and not go into debt to do that. But anything above that, then I am putting into, retirement accounts and so forth. Yeah, we definitely have to plan for your future. And I think for me, I've made more money since being on the road. I'm able to save more than I had previously, and that's been great.
Right. Actually, you're actually saving more. You are better off. You're both better off for your future today than you were when you went on the road.
Significantly. I would say, like, it's incomprehensible how much that is for me.
Right. Yeah. So that's a big fear particularly your parents will have, but a lot of people will have. What will you do when you get older? And there's an easy solution. Now, I'm already older. When I moved into a van, I was still working. I just kept working. Nothing changed. Just exactly like you. I kept going to my job every day, and except, like you said, now all of a sudden I had extra money at the end of the month, and so I was able to build towards a savings for my future. I have an IRA. I did all the traditional stuff, an IRA, and I still have them. And I was also, when I retired, I was 52, and I could take a very early retirement. So I had a retirement, and then when I turned 62, I had my Social Security. But like you guys, I couldn't quite make it without dipping into my savings, and I didn't want to do that. So I took a job as a campground host, which is one of the jobs you've taken, Brian.
Yep.
And so that made up any shortfall. And so there is a really good answer for what about your future. But it's so good that your family and friends are asking that, because you do need to have an answer. And if you don't have an answer, you don't have a plan, then you are creating a problem for your future. So very, very good. Yeah.
And what I'd add to that is that, again, I alluded to this earlier, but you basically need to make a lot less money once you become a nomad. And so, friends in cities, they need to make $100,000 a year. I can do just as well at, $12,000 to $15,000 a year, because I've reduced my spending, no rent, no utilities. I have solar panels. Like, you can live so frugally and yet still have a very rich life, that I think that's just something you have to keep in mind, is that if you hit the road, your costs are going to go way down from a traditional lifestyle.
Right. There have been a lot of studies done that show that if you get a $20,000 a year raise at work, you don't have $20,000 more dollars. I mean, they've studied. These are really good science that say you're not going to, at the end of the year, have $20,000 more dollars in the bank. You're going to have $20,000 worth of more of debt and things and a nicer, bigger house. You're not going to have more money. And so really learning to be frugal is the very best plan for the future.
Well, I know one of the concerns or the stigma that I met was, are you just going to go be like a homeless bum and living off of society, a leech on society? And my thoughts on that are, first, what is so great about YouTube and bringing awareness is that there is so much choice to this, and there's, like, through Bob and Brian before, like, learning how to do this in a way that is really stabilizing and fruitful is huge. And then it's also like, I think there's such a criticism in that idea of a homeless bum too. And so for me, when I got that question, I sometimes would make a joke and just say, yep, and then just go live my life. If it felt like it was a really critical statement in such a way that it was almost demeaning, I didn't feel like I needed to respond to it. But internally, so that I didn't take on that shame, the way that I looked at it is like, look at how beautiful my life is. Look at how incredible, how much savings I have, how much freedom I have, how much time and ownership and autonomy I have.
How much happier you are.
Oh, Yeah.
I think that once you explain to people that, you know, now that I've done these things, if you want to call me a homeless bum, that's fine, but I am the happiest I've ever been. So what's the problem with that? If you can label me all you want, but you know, we still do good things for society. I think that a lot of us out here, we're role models. We show people it can be done in a good way, and then they can do it as well, and can be inspiring, in fact. It's not for everyone, but give it a year, give it maybe 2 years, and find out if it does work for you. See if you are saving more money, and that way you can kind of come back to them and say, see, I am succeeding. I'm not falling flat on my face. That, you know, and if you do, that's okay too, because, you know, sometimes you have to pick yourself up off the ground and try again.
And what I've found in my life over the many years is that sometimes the things that are worst in my life, and I look back later, they're the best. They're the things I smile at the most. Those are the memories. Oh, I remember when I did that stupid Van Dwelling thing. It worked it didn't work, but man, I really enjoyed it.
What an adventure.
What an adventure.
Yeah.
I treasure the memories. So really, life is all about treasuring the memories as you go on. And I think just go build just some more really wonderful memories. So I hope this has helped you, that you have gotten some ideas, that if you're new on the road and you're hearing these things and you are taking them in and feeling them yourself, that this gives you a response to how to answer your own self, and most of all, how to answer family and friends and comfort them, and be grateful to them. They've provided a valid fear that you need to be addressing. So they've done you a favor, and hopefully that will strengthen your relationship and build a closer bond, if that's possible. Sometimes it's not. So if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, bang away at that thing, and we'll talk to you on the next video. See you then.